I'm Ashton from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Simon Dixon, the CEO and co-founder of BnkToTheFuture. Simon, thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Great, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's start with a little bit of background on BnkToTheFuture. Can you please give us an overview of the company and the solutions you're providing in the industry?
Sure, yeah. BnkToTheFuture.com is an online investment platform for investing in fintech and crypto companies. We were the first securities business to enter the crypto space. We started in 2010, and we spent many years on the regulars. We're a SEMA registered company, and we have facilitated some of the largest funding rounds in crypto. So some of the companies that have gone on to become the largest companies. So companies like Bitfinex, Bitstamp, Kraken, BitPay, and over 100 others. So we do primary offerings and secondary offerings whereby you can buy and sell equity in companies, which is obviously very different from tokens and security tokens and other products.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Now, if I got this right, investors are investing just equity in mainly blockchain platforms. Is there a reason that you guys strayed away from token offerings, and also security offerings have been something that's been more popular, growing now throughout 2019?
So we've been through the whole process. So when we started, there was only Bitcoin. I was working in investment banking in 2006, and then I was invited to speak at the first Bitcoin conference in the world in Prague. And we launched a platform in 2010, just after Bitcoin was created or started the platform. It took several years in regulations. And then around about 2015 was when we started to do some of the larger funding rounds. The token side only really started in 2013. One of our first deals that we did was Ethereum, a mining part. And we did many of the earlier token sales like a Factum, Storage, MadeSafe, and various others. But what we did is we always did things in compliance with securities laws. So we put together a contract that gave people entitlement to these tokens. And more recently, everyone started to get interested in our industry through security tokens. And we've invested and put deals on the platform for many of the companies like Securitize and more recently DX Exchange, and many other companies that are involved in the growth of the security token industry.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. So is it possible for any investors or VCs or fund managers to invest into the offerings on BnkToTheFuture? I'm guessing that there's a KYC that's needed, and are there geographic restrictions to who can invest?
Sure. As a registered securities business, then we have to adhere to global securities laws, our local securities laws, and also anti-money laundering laws. So if a country is restricted for anti-money laundering sanctions reasons, then we're prohibited from dealing with such countries. But what we have done is anybody that is able to compliantly invest, then we've done custom onboarding processes for many different jurisdictions. So as we have subsidiaries within our company that are regulated in different countries. So if you're from the US, then you would go through our US broker dealer. And so we put together custom onboarding processes to open up the pool to as many investors that are legally and compliantly allowed to invest depending on your jurisdictions. So if the rules change in your country, then we will make an update to our onboarding process and allow for search. But this is a high risk, high return asset class. Mm-hmm. And it's most suited to people that can afford to speculate in such a high risk, high return environment. And it's long-term patient investments as well.
Yep, I completely agree. Now, in the industry with BnkToTheFuture, are there other investment platforms that are doing similar things to you guys? And what makes you different? What's your competitive advantage?
So the background is that go back to 2010 when we started, there were about 3 companies in the UK that were looking to allow for equity online and do online venture capital. We were one of them. And it took us approximately 4 years to get the UK regulator to agree to that. And later that led to legislative changes in countries like the US through Jobs Act and various other things. So there's a couple of different industries. We were around for the birth of online investing, and then having spoke at the first Bitcoin conference and being early investors in Bitcoin, we never needed funding because the Bitcoin investments facilitated our growth. And so we really dedicated the platform to supporting this industry in a time when no venture capitalists wanted to invest in the industry. Nobody was interested in the industry. And so many of those early deals were done through Bank2the Future. And more recently, the industry has changed and there's been a lot of interest, obviously. So at the moment, you might find blockchain-based platforms that are allowing for tokens and various other products. Or you might find online portals which allow for investing in equity. But as far as I know, we're the only equity platform that specializes in fintech and has been around for the whole growth. And we're now investors in 120 different companies, 6 of which have gone on to become multi-billion-dollar unicorns.
Wow, that's great. And I could see how regulations, especially starting now from scratch, to jump through all of those hoops to set up properly and do it the right way would obviously be a big barrier to entry for people that are looking to compete with somebody who's already grown.
Well, we're all for competition, so we often invest in our competitors. So, you'll see deals on our platform. We for people looking to get into security tokens. We've done other, platforms that do online investing, more recent incumbents. We're here to support the growth of the industry and provide the best investment opportunities we can find for our investors. And if that means that we fund somebody that's looking to compete with us and disrupt us, then we'd rather be an investor in them and support the industry than look at it as non-competition.
That's very interesting. And how many deals has Bank2the Future done since inception? And also, what does the assets under management look like for Bank2the Future in the portfolio right now?
So we've done approximately 120 deals, and we facilitated investments to the tune of $750 million in funding rounds listed on our platform. Some of the equity that we hold includes companies like Coinbase, Ripple Labs, the company. Many people might own XRP, the token, but actually the largest holder of XRP is Ripple Labs, the company. Circle, Bitfinex, Bitstamp, Kraken, and many other companies in the industry. Shapeshift. It's sometimes tricky to remember all of them, but that's the total number of investments. In terms of the value of all the equity that we hold, I haven't actually done that stat. It would be a very useful one to get, I think. But it's we've got several unicorns in there.
That's amazing. And traditional investors, when they're looking at a deal, they usually take into account the power law rule, where a lot of investments that they go into, only 10% or so turn into unicorns. This space has been extraordinary in the last 10 years. Have you noticed that a large amount of the deals that have been through Bank2the Future are all successful? And have you broken that power law?
So let's look at doing some stats now. So we've had 120 deals. 6 of them have gone on to become multi-billion-dollar unicorns. So that's about, if I'm doing my maths right, that's about 5%. But then there's been also other ultra high return opportunities, like we were investing in Ethereum mining right from the beginning. Some of the investors, they actually invested in the Ethereum mining product, and they haven't actually logged back in their account and withdraw those ETH. And some of them, they hold incredible wealth on the platform that they haven't even looked at. So it's pretty interesting. Bitfinex was the hack recovery equity round that we did, was one of the more profitable opportunities. Bitstamp was an exit. They recently got acquired, and giving people a return there. But at the same time, I would say that it is still, meeting that 10% rule. We probably had, of the 120, 12 ultra successful deals. The others are sitting around in the middle, seeing if they're going to reach their hockey stick growth yet. And we've had several bankruptcies. So it is all about diversification. We started the platform because I just wanted to diversify widely. I believed that this was a disruption of a multi-trillion-dollar traditional financial industry. And I didn't know which companies was going to invest in. So I was one of the first customers for Bank2the Future because I just wanted to diversify widely and spread over lots of different opportunities.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Simon. And how does the revenue model work with Bank to the Future? Is it like a traditional portfolio investment management where there's a 2 in 20, or how do you guys profit?
Yeah, so when the issuer raises funding through our platform, in most cases, then we would get 5% of whatever we end up investing through the platform. We don't charge any management fees or ongoing fees, but we do charge the investor 5% of any returns that they make. So we would hold everything through one of our SPV structures, and we would do that for free. But if the company goes on to get acquired or exits, or pays any dividends, then we would with the investor on the cap table, we pull together all the other investors, we would distribute to them, and we would charge a 5% fee on any dividends or returns that are distributed. So I mean, that keeps us in line, whereby the highest returns are made if the companies succeed, as opposed to just being a broker. We're looking to support the companies and our portfolio companies because the highest returns are made for us when there's a distribution.
Yeah, that's great. And can you talk a little bit about the secondary market that you have for trading equities?
Yeah, so we recently launched into beta our secondary market. So deals that are becoming household brands, and maybe some of our investors want to, realize or liquidate, then we have an over-the-counter order book whereby new investors can maybe come in and get exposure to some of the companies that they might have missed. And they can diversify into companies like blockchain.com or Ripple Labs or Bitfinex or some of these other companies. And our investors, they can place a sell order as well. It's not a deeply liquid market like a token market or anything like that. It's more for long-term investing, for building a portfolio. But we allow people to place those buy and sell orders so that they can get earlier liquidity than a traditional venture capitalist might be waiting for the full exit.
Interesting. And you mentioned that was in beta. Is that what you're focusing on with Bank to the Future in terms of expanding and growth right now? Or do you guys have other plans to release more things throughout 2019?
Yeah, so the secondary market is where we're, really focusing our attention right now. We're just expanding the ways in which people can invest in the secondary market. We've announced a couple of acquisitions recently. So we just acquired altcoin.io, which is a decentralized exchange that we're looking to integrate with many of the tools that we've built at Bank to the Future. So in allowing people to invest in securities, we've developed a lot of processes to make that globally compliant with different securities laws. Now we're ready to take some of those processes, take them out of the platform, and allow people to self-custody their own security tokens and trade those in a more decentralized way, but obviously still having to comply with the security law requirements. So really, we're looking to disrupt ourselves through these acquisitions, firstly by investing in other companies building the future. And if these ways we can give our investors choices, if they want to do it in a more centralized traditional way, or if they want to actually do it through some of the tools that are available now, this technology has progressed through the growth of the security token market.
That's great. I'm really glad that your team is focused on that. And it seems that a lot of people are saying the future is decentralized, and trading on centralized exchanges is very popular right now. But the trend seems to be, once they get it right, to be able to hold custody of your own coins and funds and do that in a more decentralized manner. So do you guys have a timeline for that?
Yeah, so we're working on the exchange. We launched our own token, the Bank to the Future token, in 2018. And in 2020, we're currently working on the regulatory model for the exchange. But at the same time, we've got live products in secondary markets. So we're iterating out. It won't be this year. It will most likely be next year. But we're looking at iterating out and giving people choices of doing it in both ways. My hope is that we end up in the decentralized way, because that's both better for the customer being able to own their own assets, and also the exchange not having to take the responsibility of custodying those assets as well. So my hope is that we can eventually fulfill the promise. But if you look at the ICO market, for example, that was an idea in 2013 with Mastercoin and the Omni protocol now. But it wasn't until 2017 that it got deep liquidity. So you could expect a similar thing. People started looking at security tokens in 2018, I imagine it won't be till 2022 that you'll start to see some deeper liquidity in those markets.
I definitely agree. It may take some time. Now, in your expansion plans, are you guys looking for more strategic partners, more investors, or just more companies to start listing on BnkToTheFuture?
So we're here to support the industry. We're a mission-led company. We believe that the future of finance looks very different from the past. And, we're here to facilitate the growth. We don't want to start putting loads and loads of deals on the platform. If there is no, what we consider to be a good investment, then we'd rather have no deals and just focus on the secondary market. So at the same time, we want as many investors that are interested in investing in high risk, high return, and diversifying into this industry, because we want to push more and more investment into the industry. But it's a question of we're principle led. We're looking to support the growth of the industry, and we believe that more and more people. We've now got 87,000 high net worth investors, so we can get funding round done pretty quickly. And if people own our token, they can stake it and they get priority access to deals, and they can also get discounts off trading fees as well when using our secondary market.
And if investors are looking to learn more about BnkToTheFuture or get involved, what's the best way to learn more?
So splitting it into a couple of things, if you can go to BnkToTheFuture.com and you can create an account, see if you qualify to invest. If you're involved in building something disruptive in the future of finance, you can apply very quickly. Send us your deck, and there's an apply button on the page. We go live every single week on our YouTube channel at BnkToTheFuture.com, giving investors updates on roadmap. And me personally, if you're more interested in Bitcoin politics and that type of stuff, then I personally use my Twitter channel and my YouTube channel, Simon Dixon, to give regular updates on how I see the economy, which is different to the BnkToTheFuture, which is purely for investors.
That's great. Well, I'll leave those links in the description box below for the viewers. And that's all the time that we have today, Simon, but I really appreciate you coming on and speaking about BnkToTheFuture. Let's follow up in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you.